Everybody, we are back. It is Taped on Live Favorites Podcast, Favorites Channel, Favorites Everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also, follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at Glen Rockney for Glenn, and of course, pandasubs.com. Discount code TDL for 25% off. So, guys, we are back with our final mock draft of the season. It's the last one. Glenn, we got the draft next Thursday. We're going live with the draft, picking at 6. So it's all the talk and all the buzz and all the lies and all the things people are making up, and agents hitting up like Jordan Schultz and having him tweet out his players dunking is going to be over pretty soon. So how you feeling, Glenn? How you feeling?
Yeah, I feel great. I mean, I'm really excited for the draft next week. I haven't asked you, but I'm sure we're streaming. I know at least Thursday and Friday. I'm gonna be ready to stream if that's what we're doing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. Everybody asks what I'm drinking, by the way, and I never answer it on the thing. This is original pattern rice lager. I drink fancy stuff. It's Oakland. I believe they're either Oakland or San Francisco brewery. Support your local breweries for sure. You're right about the Jordan Schultz thing, because I'm always like, and not just him, like, what is it going to be 5 years from now? Because remember back when the draft was just nothing, not nothing, but like you watched it. You are only a small percentage of fan bases ever tuned into it. It was just like, let me know when that guy's got, playing on Sundays. I'll check him out as a rookie. People didn't even like rookies, back in the day. People love rookies now.
I know.
Are they going to be like just like live streaming the draft process, like the players like Big Brother from their house, like for a month or something? Like, we have so much access to these guys. I'm getting a little sick of it.
Yeah, they might get to that point, man. This draft it's just so long. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, in NFL, like, they still get it wrong. That's the thing. Like, they have this super long process. They meet with these guys like 80 times. They got to get to know them personally. Like, I don't know, they got to go follow them for a whole day, go to their parents' house, meet their parents. You know what I mean? Like, they got to do this whole character thing too, part of it, which to me, like, I feel like at the combine, you talk to somebody for 15 minutes, I think you can get a good idea of the character. Like, how much do you really got to know their character? Like, are you going to watch them slip up if they're being fake, or are you going to be able to, like, either pick that up the next time you see it? They're going to be the same person. They're going to kind of present themselves the same way. So I don't get it. I don't know. And, maybe some of it's private workouts. That makes sense to me a little bit. But I feel like you could do that in March. You know what I mean? Get these pro days over with, get everything done. I mean, college football ends, January 20th?
Right.
Like, this process should be a whole lot quicker. Like, it's just way too long for me.
I think the draft. I think the draft should be right at the beginning of April. And then also just there's actually one team that like doesn't go that intense. I mean, they watch. I'm sure it's tape all day, and they know these guys. But the Rams, they just don't even do their top 30 visits and stuff. They don't bring people in. I think they did a couple, but like for the most part, I think it's the combine that half of them don't even go to the combine and stuff. But then you look at the way they draft really well. Like they missed out on Brock Bowers last year. They get Jared Verse, and they have a good process. And I wonder if there's going to be some teams that just go, man, what more prep work can we do? But we still aren't getting these picks right. We're not drafting any better than in the past. And I do think teams have gotten better at drafting. Like overall, like the league itself has gotten better at drafting than it was 10 to 15 years ago. But I see this Top Golf thing now. Everybody's talking about this Top Golf thing, where for anybody who doesn't know, this is how reportedly how Washington settled on Jaden Daniels last year. Was they got all these players together and they wanted to see who was the best at Top Golf, not the actual game of golf itself, but who conducted the room, who commanded the attention, who was the alpha in a sense. And I heard the Raiders did that this year too, which us doing a Top Golf thing, there's other tests I would have for that. Our Top Golf thing is, can you get home from Top Golf? But it's a different story.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't reading the room when they went to Top Golf this year.
I was like, and what did you guys do? They're like, okay, it's like a game of Saw. This is 26 shots of tequila. What are you gonna do?
Definitely was not reading the room.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that, man. It was like they're like Top Golf guys, and I know Top Golf is a great place for people to.
Dan Quinn did it, so that travels. Dan Quinn, Pete Carroll,
yeah. They probably didn't even think about that until somebody said something. But somebody in the Raiders organization should be like, "Hey,
yeah, wasn't their problem. I mean, yeah, no, nobody who was here is still there. To say that maybe it would be Mark Davis, but I don't care, man. If they get this right, and I think that I'm pretty confident in what they're doing. I like their press conferences where everybody saw the one today where Pete goes careful when they talk about Genty. When somebody asks, reporters want to know about Genty. That's the hot name, and Pete just go kind of a little bit off mic, but on mic says careful, despite that, like that, and then they just give these canned answers.
Yeah. I feel like they're trolling a little bit with Genty a little bit too.
Well, I think they want the Bears to trade up. I think they want I think the Bears are the team that everybody or somebody, it could be any team, but they want somebody to trade up for him. I mean, I think they would take him at 6. I just think they're hoping to with a few things to just bait a couple teams into jumping ahead of them, because it sounds like Spytek is happy with having 9 picks. Granted, a lot of them are late picks, but he seems like he's like, well, it's a top 6 player. We can get a top 6 player in this draft. So
yeah,
I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, I'm gonna predict it today, but I don't know.
Yeah, because what they're gonna do at the top of the draft is up in the air, right? The buzz is Ashton Genty, right? I mean, that's the easy one. Everybody's like Ashton Genty right there. But I sent you that video of Albert Breer, because Albert Breer is like, yeah, everybody thinks Ashton Genty, but he's like John Spytek. He doesn't think John Spytek would do that. I mean, the Bucks, I know maybe they didn't draft a lot of running backs, but actually they did. I mean, when he was from 2016 to about 2024, they drafted like 5 running backs, right? But they're all in the 4th round, and the earliest one they took was Ronald Jones in the 2nd. So and then just listening to him at the press conference today, just talk about like how many running backs are in this draft, and they got to decide where they want to pick guys and all that stuff. It kind of points to like it seems just easy enough, but I don't know if they feel like that's the route they're gonna go.
Yeah, because I think you go on the flip side, you have Carroll, who has Rashad Penny, Kenneth Walker, first and second round picks like that, and they said something at their presser, and again, this press conference was very, very political. It was very, and I mean political from a sense like not gonna tell you a damn thing.
Yeah,
and they were saying basically, if we're not on a consensus, we don't pick the player, is what they're saying. So really, that answers our question: who's in charge? And it's like Pete's got a lot of say, lot of say in this draft. Now, I don't think he's going to be able to overrule Spytek, but if Spytek has a guy at 6, it's like, this is our guy, but Pete's like, nah, I don't think they take the guy. I will see. I mean, you never know what happens when it's time to actually put the card in. You hope that they just agree on a consensus pick, but it'll get interesting as you get into like the 3rd, 4th round of, they're going to have some guys, and you're going to hope that they're in agreement on that. I have no idea what they're going to do. This is crazy.
Yeah, because I think Pete Carroll is going to control the defense. That's what I think. I think when it comes to a mutual agreement, like I think on offense, Pete doesn't care. He probably is like, go ahead, John, do your thing.
Run the football. Can we run? He's like, can we run the football? I don't care who you get there. I don't give a shit. All these kids, can we run the ball? Like, I want to be able to run the ball. Gino's my guy. You got my guy already. But yeah, the defense, and it should be that way in my opinion. Like Pete's got a good track record of finding corners in like the 4th, 5th round that end up getting huge second contracts for other teams and not being any good. He finds his guys that work. So I'm kind of thrilled about if that's the dynamic. I kind of hope so. Now, then the question is what if in the 2nd round we want to go defense? What if the value's there for an offensive player and Pete's like, I haven't got my defensive guy yet or something, that's the only thing. But I'm asking these questions more as like out of fascination rather than worry. I actually think they're a pretty competent staff. I'm betting on that at least.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, I think their plan, and I think Spytek is going to be very Jason Light. I think he's basically to copy it. I mean,
fine with me.
From my perspective, like that's kind of how I see it. Like just the way he's talking. He talks about his past a lot and the rooms he's been in, and a lot of those things. I think he has a philosophy that he learned from. I mean, Jason Light doesn't have a bad track record, right? Drafting. I
I
mean,
think he's one of the best GMs in the NFL.
yeah. So right. So, he's kept the Bucks relevant, and brought in Tom Brady, and then brought in Baker Mayfield after that, and they've been in the playoffs the last 3 years. Then I mean, the past three
Mhm.
seasons. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. I mean, he's pretty consistent there, building a team, and that's why I think John Spytek, he has a chance to kind of, you know, cement himself as a good GM, and I think he's taking it real serious. Just how long he's been scouting and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's taking it real serious, man. So, uh, let's get some of these questions real quick before we start talking about these draft plans here. I mean, we got some questions about that. So, can we quickly go over how bad a pick Tyree Wilson was?
Yeah. I mean, it's not. It's as high as he was today. He was the top. What, seventh? Was he seventh? I think he was seventh. That's not great. I mean, I I'd like to see him with this staff, right? And this is the year where I just go, I'm done. If it's I don't have the highest hopes for him. In fact, the fact that they feel the need to, you would think they would even let a guy like Kuntz go, right, or somebody like
Yeah,
that. Like if Wilson was developing at the rate that people felt comfortable. So obviously nobody seems to be like incredibly high on him. Uh, that being said, he is big and strong and athletic, and if Pete can't fix him, I have no qualms sending him off somewhere else or just cutting him after this year. I don't think his fifth year option is going to get picked up. I don't hate him as much as a lot of fans do. I think he's just an okay player. Like I don't dislike him as much as I disliked Cleveland Farrell, to be honest. I know
yeah,
people might disagree with me there, but Cleveland Farrell just never made sense. You know what I mean?
hmm
With just the lack of athleticism that he had better college tape. Cleveland Farrell did, but just the fact that he was a guy to your checklist that you always put out, he didn't work. Cleveland Farrell was very picky with what he worked out on, and we saw why. Um, Tyree Wilson's like, this should work when you look at him. That's the frustrating part, is this should work, or it should at least develop into a productive defensive end. It maybe not a top, whatever, but a productive defensive end, and it's just not right now.
yeah. I mean, to be honest though, I mean Tyree Wilson. Just when I was looking up like defensive ends, defensive tackles that Pete Carroll likes to draft, and some of those things, he does kind of fit what
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
what Carroll likes. I mean, LJ Collier, right? I mean, they took LJ Collier, who's not
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
he's not
but
that much of a good.
yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Is like he, but again, it's just a thing. You might see something and go, I know exactly what we need to do to get, because Tyree, a lot of his problems to me seem mental. Like I just don't think he has a killer instinct. That's kind of my problem, because I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you're huge.
hmm
Like, you are huge. Just beat that guy's ass. Like, remember in the preseason where he just took that tackle and just destroyed him? And like, I think he like ended that tackle's career. And I was like, dude, I know you can't do that as a backup tackle, but like, where's that intensity? And to
Yeah.
me, bring that out. Like, if you can't, some people you just can't bring that out in. Some guys are just teddy bears, and you just can't do it. For me, if they can find a way to get this dude like to play loose, and just like, it's okay if you make a mistake, but stop being so robotic out there.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that, dude. All right. Jaydon Blue fumble issues show up on film. I remember one of the broadcast saying he has fumbleitis. Uh, on the film I watched, it hasn't showed up, but it has stats. I think he had like 9 or something like that.
In the playoff, I thought he fumbled in the playoff too. It was a kind of a big
Yeah, 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 yeah. He had like he does have a lot of fumbles on his stats. I know that's a big knock on him. But I really I like Jaydon Blue. Like that's the type of guy that um he is so fast that I still think he's going under the radar. That if the Raiders want to draft a running back that late in the fifth round or
right.
something like that, I think he would be there just because he's undersized. He's 196. I know he doesn't run a 4.3 and things like that, but the fumbles, him not having a lot of carries at Texas, I think is going to play a big factor into what he really does, because I just think that he is a really good player though, but he does have a lot of fumbles. I'm trying to look it up here.
Yeah, and that's why I think he's a day 3 pick, honestly. Like, I think
Yeah.
he will be a day 3 pick. I think even if you're higher on him, and look, that speed is I mean, that speed is that speed. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, Buck, look, man, he could be like, he kind of has a little Bucky Irving to his game, where in a
Yeah.
sense, where he's got a little, I think he's got better long speed than Bucky Irving,
Yeah.
but Bucky Irving had fumble problems last year. Like, as good of a year as he had last year, Bucky Irving fumbled. And maybe that doesn't exactly take them out of the I could see, I like the fit with Chip Kelly a lot. So if that's something they want to do, I'd prefer Jaydon Blue if I already drafted like a running back in the second round. And then and then those were my two guys going forward, the kind of a thunder and lightning situation. That would be really impressive to me.
Yeah, I agree, dude. All right, next question here. Why are good players so wound up playing with no guaranteed money? I guess that's a Colton Miller question. We'll get to that. We'll get to that question. That's a good question right there. These guys are paying, so I got to hit these questions. Can you give your take on Vernon Broughton, Kalel Mullings, and Junior Tafuna? I left the DTs to Matt because Matt does that he gets paid to do that for Bleach Report. So I'm not gonna lie to you. It's part of the show. I mean, that's what Matt does. He watches the DTs. But I was looking at Broughton. I was looking at him. He's projected to go around 4 according to Last Line. First step quickness to penetrate above average range as a tackler. Doesn't have a good anchor. I think the thing is, like, when it comes to defensive tackles, Pete Carroll's never drafted a tackle over 306 pounds. So this dude is 311. I don't know if he meets it.
Yeah, well, but like you said, do his threshold, are his thresholds actually his thresholds, or were those John Snyder collabs?
Yeah, see, on defense, I think with playing inside of the slot corner, I think that made a difference. But like with weight at what I would say with the defense tackle, I think they have a certain defense tackle they like. Like they'll play like Jaron Reed was like 300 something pounds. He was the nose tackle. You know what I mean? Like it is one of those things where it's like he just likes like smaller defensive tackles. I think if you played with you remember Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley was kind of the same way. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, and that's where Gus Bradley comes from, is Pete Carroll. Yeah, so it's going to be that type of thing. Like, with linebackers too. Like, he doesn't like small linebackers. Like they like 240-pound linebackers. So those are the type of linebackers they like. I mean, that's all he's really drafted. I think the lowest one he's drafted was Ben Burke-Hyven. I think he went to Minnesota or some shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was 230 pounds, but he drafted him like late. You know what I mean? So but when it comes to linebackers, they all 240 pounds, all of them. Like the defensive ends are big old dudes too, like 250 and up. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, that's why I say Tyree Wilson. Like, he might have drafted Tyree Wilson. So that's why it's kind of funny, man.
No, that's what I mean. You haven't heard his name mentioned at all during this off season. Like, I wish one of the reporters would ask, like, what do you think of Tyree Wilson? He doesn't have to be coy about it either. Like, he's on the roster under contract. There's no reason to avoid the question or anything. But like, if you never know. In Seattle, they could have been like, man, we interviewed this kid. We love this kid. Like, and obviously Rob Leonard might be like, yeah, well, I was working with him last year and it just wasn't great. But I think he's improved. I think fans are low on him for sure, because he should be the guy across from Max. That's just like, they should be wrecking shit right now. And that's correct. That's where he was taken, and that's what he should be expected to do. But not every pick is that way. The problem is if your misses can't be like catastrophically bad, like the Raiders misses often are. When they miss Damon Arnett, guys like that, Jonathan Abram, like these guys, they're just like, they're out of the league, and these guys, I don't know, maybe Abram's not the best way to say that, but just a lot of, they're missing Leatherwood, these guys are out of the league. Like, they can't do anything for your team. Like, that's what Tyree Wilson, do you give him a second contract? We'll see, but maybe for like another year or so, maybe he could be productive.
Looking at Junior Tafuna, he is 308 pounds, but he runs a 5 flat, 20-inch vertical. Like, that ain't gonna work in the NFL. That ain't gonna work, bro. I'm sorry. You got to be fat to have those things. You got to be like 330. You know what I mean? What else? What other questions we got here? And then we'll start talking about a little bit Colton Miller.
Saw there was one about Raiders draft picks, or yeah, there you go.
Who was best non-Bowers Raiders draft pick during both your lifetimes?
He's taking into account to value too. Like, it's not, if they took a good player like 3rd overall, maybe that's not quite what he's saying. But it's tough to beat Max Crosby. It's tough to beat Max Crosby in the 4th round. It's pretty tough.
Yeah.
He said Bo Jax. A couple people are saying Bo Jax. That's not my lifetime, but that's Bo was a late pick, wasn't he? Because people weren't sure if he was going to play baseball, or Al Davis was one of the only guys that was going to let him play both, I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be honest, I want to go Khalil Mack.
Pretty damn good, because he should have gone to Buffalo instead of Sammy Watkins. And then also I'll give another one. I loved this guy because he played right in my backyard in the East Bay, but Nnamdi Asomugha, late first round. Pretty tough to beat Nnamdi Asomugha. I mean, the guy was a monster. That's pretty good. A couple.
I mean, to be honest, because I've looked at the draft history, like Charles Woodson, I guess.
Woodson's good. I'm just trying to think of like a third. The problem is we just don't have that many. But like, hey man, I mean, Derek Carr in the second round is not that bad. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know fans will not agree with me there, but that was your starter. Whether you agreed with it or not, he was the starter for a long time, and you got him in the second round. There was. Yeah, I'd have to have the picks in front of me, but yeah, there's I know Howie Long. He wasn't like first overall or anything, but that wasn't my lifetime. Yeah,
no. Yeah, I did love me some Chester McLaughlin. I'm just looking at it. I did love me some Chester McLaughlin as a kid. I did.
Yeah. Oh man,
he was the Chiefs. He's a traitor.
He did the Chiefs. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Gosh, I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's definitely a lot though. Yeah, Marcus Allen 10th overall. You're talking about that was probably the best player in college football at the time. That's pretty damn good. If you were in '82, that you had to have been punching through through the roof of your house. Denarius Moore. Oh man, are we there? Is that where we're at right now?
Denarius Moore.
I was team Jacoby Ford during that time, dude. I was Jacoby Ford guy. I'll give you one. Jared Veldheer was good. I like
yeah.
What was he like, fourth or fifth round or something?
That was a good one. That was a good one. Zach Miller, they got on here. My
second round pick, I think, right? Second round. Yeah.
Zach Miller too. Yeah. We got a couple Ramsey questions. Let's talk about Ramsey a little bit, and then we'll talk about Colton Miller. So, solve our cornerback slot corner free safety deal. Trade back for 6. Recoup that pick. No. Yes or no? Jalen Ramsey.
Yes, but it doesn't line up with what they're doing right now. That's what I'll say. Yes, I would do it. I would do it right now. I think the guy's a beast. I would trust Pete Carroll to whatever you dislike about Jalen Ramsey. I think that a lot of that's overblown. I think he's a diva. I think he has wide receiver brain a little bit, but but the problem is he's not a pussy at corner. He tackles. I mean, he can hit. He's a safety. And I know there was a lot of talk about Asante Samuel talking about the father, Asante Samuel Sr., talking about Jalen Ramsey moving back to safety at some point. I think Pete Carroll would be a guy to like tell him to do that. Now, the problem is Jalen Ramsey's going, I've seen what both positions get paid. Keep me at corner. But when you already have a guy in the building and you say, look, we're paying you, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're paying you already. We're taking on your contract. You want to play a little safety for us, a little slot, kind of move around in the secondary. I would love it. It's a lot of money to take on. The Raiders can do it. It doesn't fit with what they've been doing, though.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't fit with what they've been doing at all. But I mean, he's still a good player, though. Like, I think people are trying to knock him like he's not a good player anymore.
He's very good. He's
still a good player. And
kills us. Anytime the Raiders friggin' played the Dolphins, he'd have a pick, a crazy like circus interception. Oh gosh.
Exactly. So it just you got to pay him, which is one thing, right? And when I was on the radio on Wednesday, I was talking about how maybe he takes less money. Maybe he just wants out of Miami and he'll take less money. I mean, that's a thing. That's the bigger thing is like you just aren't trading for him. Like you might have to give him like $23 million. You know what I mean? Like it's like does he really want that much money, or is this more like I just want to get out of there type of thing?
Here's why I like him. Why I want to pay the money for him.
Okay.
Because I think it lessens the pick that you give up for him. And I think you can get away with giving like a conditional 6 that could turn into a 5th. Whereas if you're trying to have him take a cut or have Miami take on a lot more dead money, you're probably giving them a 3rd round pick, which right now I don't really want to do that. I'm not saying you could talk me into it. I mean, but Spytech, you could tell it kind of pained him to have to give up the 3rd round pick already this year. I don't think he wants to give up 2. And pay both guys quite a bit of your cap space to do that. I think you could get him for like a 5th. There's rumors that they're calling on him for sure, that they're calling about him. It would really do a lot for the secondary because they need a veteran back there, a good one, a one that actually goes on the field and makes plays, that isn't
Yeah.
just a coach in the secondary, but like a real veteran that goes out there and makes plays, a guy that can tackle. He fits exactly what they want to do on defense, and he can take the ball away. He's younger than I thought too. I thought he was into his 30s already. I think he's just now getting there because he came out when he was really young. I remember from Florida State. I'd do it. I mean, I would do it. You're keeping this money for a long time. You know, they've been sitting around with this money. I would rather do that over Jair Alexander personally, just in my opinion. I would rather have him. Whether you think Alexander's better or not, that whole Alexander thing that has been happening with Green Bay for the last year, I don't want that in Vegas.
Yeah, and Alexander's never on the field.
Or mad and not on the field. Like sometimes he's just like, I feel like half the time he's just like, I don't want to play. I hate it. Like, yeah.
All right, guys. We'll get to the rest of your questions in a second, guys. So keep asking them. I'm saving them here, so we're definitely get to all your questions here. Colton Miller is holding out for more money. That was the big news coming out of voluntary workout. So he didn't want to go run with the team. I guess he didn't want to go run and do some conditioning and quick workout. He decided that he wants to sit out of those. I don't know if he's going to sit out OTAs and mini camp. I mean, that's where we're getting to the point of, does that happen? But I mean, if we're being fair to Colton Miller here, I mean, he's only due $12 million next year.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think it's fair for him to do it. For one, I wouldn't call it a holdout right now, too. This is a voluntary portion of team workouts. Obviously, you think he'd be there if he had a new contract. He probably would. So of course, there is some gameplay that he's doing. It's something that's totally allowed, I think, and to happen. They were really dismissive of it, but I think it's quite clear they're waiting to see what they get in the draft. And if they draft his heir apparent at 6 overall, I think you start thinking like, well, what do you think, Colton? Like, you start having the conversation. Now, if they don't, if they're like, okay, we didn't end up getting a swing tackle till like the 4th round or something, pay Colton Miller. It's worth it. I mean, what is the cost of holding out another, week and a half before paying Colton Miller? Because I think they will if they don't have an answer. I think they will, because you don't get Geno Smith and then trade the left tackle. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Not at all. And I think Spytech made some interesting comments too about just, who he is resigning. And he's talking about, hey, he has to get to know guys and things like that before he even starts to do those things. And I think that's a little bit of a sign that maybe there is a little bit of a waiting period for Colton Miller. But yeah, I mean, he could definitely earn a boost. A lot of fans, I would say he gives up more sacks than pressures, which is crazy to when I say that.
Yeah.
Like when he gives up a pressure, it's a sack. And like, so it's like really highlighted, but like if you watch the other 45 snaps he plays, he's still really good. So, I think a lot of fans just, especially on TV, when you see that he's giving up that sack, right? And they're just, and that's what they're showing. And, like the Ravens game where he missed that block, that was like all over. That was like, they zoomed right into it and we're like, oh, Colton Miller sucks. He's get over his injury. But, he is like a very consistent tackle, left tackle, right? I think he's a good run blocker. I think he's a great pass protector. Can he be beat? Yes. But he's a good player. Like you can't find good left tackles like that all the time. So, especially when he's only 29 years old, it's not, you got to figure something out to at least get him to stay here till he's like 32 or something like that.
Yeah, 3 years.
Unless what you're talking about, which is they decide to replace him with a tackle, but then moving Membu over to left. I mean, he's never played left, so you are mixing it up a little bit. Like, do you go get another left tackle, or do you bet on him being able to move to the left side?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's I guess what would happen, for one, if it's Membu, I'll talk more about this later, but he has the athleticism, I think, to switch sides, or at least attempt to. I mean, I'm not saying you want to go into week 1 this year with that being the case, but I think they'll get something done. I saw Vinny was putting the numbers out, like where I mean, this is just Vinny's numbers. I haven't seen what the projections are, where they say it was by 18 to 19 mil a year, basically for like 2 or 3 years. I would do it. It's fine. That's good. I mean, that's maybe a little bit of an overpay, maybe a little bit of a paying on the decline, but I think it's important to keep continuity. You don't want to be shuffling around that unit every single year. But I think John Spytek's really confident in how he anything. If you watch, I've watched pretty much every interview he's done in the offseason. I think he's a very good interview. One thing he keeps a lot of information back. One thing he's never shy about is that he thinks he can draft offensive linemen. And if you watch what Tampa did, that's true. They'd found guys at every part of the draft, whether it was Tristan Wirfs, whether it was Robert, Hainsey. No, I can't remember who it was. Robert, something and then Jensen. These guys they found later. Yeah, or even guys they found later, I guess is what I mean. Like they found them at every stage of the draft. These guys can, I think it's fine to wait. Why would you pay him right now? I just don't feel the need, because like, how bad do you need him at this voluntary workout? Probably not. All right. Like, so to me, I wait. I see what happens in the draft. Because you might say in your head, I'm going to pay him no matter what, but you have a little leverage over him if you have maybe a replacement where it's like, okay, I might just give you another 2 years rather than the 4 years I would give you if we didn't have your replacement on the roster,
Yeah.
And you got to play a little hardball with guys sometimes.
I agree, man. I think with with his age, you might have to, you have to factor that in. And, do you want to pay him that much? I mean, that's up to John Spytek and those guys. But I do think that you just can't dump off a left tackle like that, in my opinion. Like, you just can't. So, especially how consistent he's been over the years. And the thing is, like, he doesn't have the Pro Bowls and things like that to match it, because the Raiders just haven't been winning. And to make Pro Bowls as offensive line, you gotta be on a winning team. Like, I mean, it's got to be consistent type of thing where your team's winning and fans recognize who the left tackle is on the 13 and 14. And the Raiders they've been bad since Colton Miller. I mean, besides what, like, 2021 where they made the playoffs, but even then it was too late. There was 6 and 7 when people were voting. So, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things with him. You got to figure out how you want to, get him up to like 18, 17 million, because that's really where you should put him at. He doesn't need to be the highest paid tackle in the NFL. So you just got to work it out that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he's coming off an injury. So, and when you start seeing, that number increase towards closer to 30, and even post 30 plus injuries, yeah, it's right to be a little apprehensive. I don't think they're going to let him go, though. I just have a feeling they're going to work something out.
Okay. All right. Let's get some more questions here, man. Would you take Shadeur at 6? Think it would look like a wasted pick, but I'd like to have a QB that is good, that can be ready to go when needed.
The problem with what you just said there is I agree with the first part, and I just don't think Shadeur's ceiling's that high. I don't know what you're gonna develop him into by sitting. Like, what are you hoping he becomes? I can't tell you what I hope he becomes, because I don't know. I just think he becomes like a solid passer. Like, I think he becomes more of like a Kirk Cousins type, who's good, but that Kirk Cousins wasn't taken 6 overall, and there's just not that one trait. People say processing is a trait, but I don't think he's like this elite processor. I just don't. I think he's good at it. That's the thing he's best at, and he's an accurate passer. Yeah. But he doesn't have the arm, doesn't have the speed, doesn't, it just, to me, there's not enough boxes checked for me to go, even with the starter, I have to get this guy. I don't see it.
Yeah, you have to really like Sanders, and you have to have a plan. And I think Sanders is more a guy that you could play right away, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Than a guy that you just want kind of sitting there and learning. He doesn't. It's not really necessary, but I mean, it's all about their plan, right? That's all their plan. If they want to, draft a quarterback and have him sit, like, and they want to wait, I wouldn't say it's a waste of pick, but if they want to use that pick at 6 to have a quarterback sit and be ready for the future, I mean, if they really like the guy, then that's what they're going to do. But so it's going to be super interesting to see what they do at the draft, because which we'll talk about in a second. I mean, they have been looking at a lot of quarterbacks, so you kind of feel like they might draft a quarterback, but that might be a little bit of a bluff too, in my opinion, a little bit, because it's kind of like a need, or maybe they're just doing studying.
Yeah,
who knows? But they might end up doing that, though. But We'll see, man. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I honestly don't know. That's a coin flip for me right now because I could see Milrow at 37 to them as well. Like I could absolutely see them doing it. I could see them, taking a Will Howard later, Kyle McCord, just somebody like that you're gonna want to like. I'm not saying that Will Howard and Kyle McCord have these, crazy ceilings that Sanders doesn't, but you're taking them much later. So it's like you're developing these guys to be a backup and maybe start. Maybe we'll see. Maybe they shock you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they drafted Russell Wilson in the 3rd round thinking this is my starting quarterback because they wouldn't have paid Matt Flynn.
Exactly.
So, there's a way to you're never completely sure what you're getting when you're drafting guys. But when you're taking a guy at 6, you've already given them what they have to become. Because what did we just talk about with Tyree Wilson? It's not that Tyree Wilson just being a productive player is good enough to warrant that 7th overall pick. So Shadeur Sanders, you're keeping him on a bench. This guy's played a lot of college football already. And what are you hoping he becomes? This isn't a Jordan Love situation where you have this athletic, big arm quarterback that just turns the ball over too much and needs to learn.
Yeah.
Shadeur, the whole idea was I just don't see the ceiling.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I really like high level quarterbacks when I'm taking them that high, like with big arms and things like that. Like when you're kind of trying to take a Tua player there, you're going to be a little disappointed. I mean,
Right.
that's even if he's good. I mean, because Tua's not a bad quarterback; he's a good quarterback. You know what I mean? So.
No, but he keeps you in purgatory a little bit, and that's why you're seeing the teams like the Dolphins, who, again, I don't think Tua is their biggest problem. In fact, his health has been a bigger problem than his play, his availability. But again, that's the thing you run into is like you got a guy who injuries bite him, but we're talking about the Dolphins selling off maybe 2 of their top players, right now, and they're just in this kind of limbo thing. And when I take a quarterback in the top 10, I'm saying this is my 10 to 12-year starter that I would hope I can compete for championships with, because otherwise you use that pick on the current court to help the current quarterback or help the defense.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I agree. Can you guys go over the position of value, best position of value for each of the first 3 rounds of this draft for the Raiders?
Position of value. Well, okay, I think I know what they're saying. Now, one thing with John Spytek is I think that's going to shock some fans this year. Is that I don't think he cares about positional value whatsoever. He said as much in his conference today, where he was just basically like, I don't know where running backs got devalued. We could take him anywhere. Like, I love running backs. Now, his track record in Tampa with Jason Light shows that they have an exact spot where they like to take running backs. But for me, I think it's trenches early. I just think you gotta try to address the trenches early. Those are high paid, tackles, defensive ends, even defensive tackles now are making a lot of money. 2nd round, I honestly, positional value doesn't exist after the 1st round. Positional value is literally the 1st round, and that's it. So I think maybe if you're just talking about team needs, like, yeah, I think they're gonna go offense early, and then the rest of the honestly, for like the rest of the draft, unless they see a quarterback that fell too far or a running back that fell too far. For the rest of the stuff, it's going to be just throwing darts at the defense just to see what they can find.
I think so too, man. I think so too. How good of a run blocker is Mumbu right out of the box? Very great.
Beast.
Monster.
Like, monster. I mean, you're talking, you'd have him and JPJ roaming and just hunting, like, in the run game. And if you had a running back, if you were able to find a running back who had good vision and knew who to follow, because we just didn't have that on the roster last year, you'd see some insane runs, big plays.
Yeah. Baby Shooks basically says that we shouldn't take any quarterback because it'll generate generational talented QB. The Raiders need one.
So you're saying they shouldn't?
Yeah, he's saying they should.
I agree.
All right. I got a question that leads into our next topic, so I'm gonna save that one. But here's a couple of, in both of your opinions, do you think Barron is worth the pick at 6?
It's not a very exciting one, is it? That's the thing with that. I guess, because the thing is, I said this in the last stream. Picking 6 is weird because it feels like almost everything's a reach with this current class, because the talent seems to be 3 players at the top that seem to be the blue chip. And then after that, it's kind of like whatever you see fit. So there's going to be guys, I think, taken at like 8 overall or 9 overall that people go, wow, that's pretty high. But to be honest, it's kind of muddy at that point in the draft. So no, I don't think it's too high for Barron. I don't. Especially with the way Will Johnson hasn't had the best offseason to help his stock. So, I mean, at the end of the day, who's CB1? Who truly is CB1? You know, it's probably Barron right now.
Yeah. Jihad Campbell at 6. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of a reach at 6.
Yeah, but also, yeah, it is because you're saying, I think, in my opinion, he's an off-ball linebacker. So you're like, you better hope he's Fred Warner.
Yeah.
Who was in the 3rd round.
We're having a debate here in the middle of the chat, so I guess I'm supposed to help this debate.
I'm interested in this
Parham
too.
at center, JPJ at guard, yes or no? I see. Me personally, I like Parham at right guard. I just think he got hurt last year. I think he was hurt. I think he played really well for 4 weeks. He got hurt, and then he was average. I don't know if he could play really well at center. I know JPJ can play center. Right. And if you feel like Parham can't play guard for you, then you need to draft somebody or you need to move on. Or we hope to God it's not Alex Kappa. So I think if you're a fan of good offensive line play, you're rooting for Parham to win that job. That's all I'm saying. Just rooting for Parham to win that job. But if you want Parham to play center and JPJ play guard, I just feel like JPJ is better at center.
Yeah.
Right. I think he could play guard, but he's better at center. So if they feel like Parham can't play guard and they don't think he's good enough, then they need to move on. But like, I just really wish they would have invested more in that. But I do think that when he was healthy, he played really well. But he got hurt and then he didn't play well. So, you know, is that he's not good there or is he hurt? You know what I mean? It's tough there with sometimes with NFL players because they love to play through injuries. They just love to you know, when they're injured, just keep playing. So it's basically how you want to look at it. Like if I just think they needed to have a better plan if they didn't like Parham. I just don't think Alex Kappa was a plan. So if are they gonna draft a guard, or can you afford to draft a guard like high in here? Like I don't know. It's so weird with some of the holes they have. Like you assume that they're gonna have to fill those holes, right? But like maybe they won't. You know what I mean? Like I just hope they don't roll Devin White out there or something. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, also we can't sleep on Jordan Meredith. I mean, because if they don't have a plan right now, that means they're going to allow an open competition. Yes, he's an undrafted player, but there's good tape of him playing last year in a Raiders uniform. So you know, that might be the case. So I just, you know, I to me, JPJ at center, he seems like a pretty rare good talent, and I think that quarterback center combination is so important.
Yeah.
You know, is JPJ good at calling stuff out? You know, I don't know. Maybe he is. The mental part of center, I don't know. So that's going to be something. But for one, I'm glad Andre James is not the center on this team right now, and that does leave a hole. But it's also I kind of like some of the solutions over him. So could be addition by subtraction there.
That's the positive right there. All right, so let's get into the no, let's talk about Quinn Ewers first, just the quarterback plan altogether. Because Quinn Ewers is getting a lot of buzz. It's been bothering me to read these articles that I've been seeing. He said, "Dear Lord, the Raiders don't let the Raiders compete. Have to do whatever it takes. Draft Arch Manning next year. You have to give the house your take." So that kind of was a good lead in there, baby should. But it's been bothering me, Glenn. I can't deal with this Quinn Ewers shit. Like Vic Tafur wrote a whole article. I'm like, why would you do? Like, why? Like, are they really looking at him like that? Like he got a whole profile. Like, really? Like, I don't know. I see the connection they have, but it just doesn't make any fucking sense to me, bro. Like, what are we betting on the dude? Like it's crazy. I don't know. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, I mean,
quarterbacks overall,
where are they taking him? Because if it's day 3, I guess. I mean, I'd rather just try to find some corners, some like small school athletic corners or something over Quinn Ewers. I'm down to like. It's kind of why this ties into like, okay, the rumors are weird with the O'Connell thing, where to me, I would rather have Aiden O'Connell over Quinn Ewers for right now. Like I would just rather have that, and I think it's going to be important to have like a backup who can come in and play because Geno might take a hit, you know, next year or something, or he's in his mid-30s. It's something might happen. So to me, I'm like, what I don't want to waste a pick on a lot of these quarterbacks. Now I like Will Howard. That's just a personal thing for me. But if they don't take him in the draft, I'm not going to be depressed. So
Yeah.
I kind of view all of these guys that way. But Quinn Ewers is just, man, under pressure, it just doesn't work. And that's just something I don't know how you teach that. I don't know how you teach somebody not to fold under pressure. And I mean, like, in terms of pass rush pressure, like, how do you teach somebody to stand there and make a good throw? That is something you look for in maybe a raw prospect and go, yeah, but he sits there in the pocket and throw. I can fix everything else.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't. It's not for me. Now, what I will say is post NIL. I wonder if some of these guys just have stupid money to hire like the best PR and agent teams.
I, I,
You know what I mean? Because if you're the Texas quarter, I imagine Quinn Ewers made $6 million last year as a Texas quarterback. Or if maybe these guys are just like, you know what? Contact every team's beat reporter. Like, just make it happen. This could just be a media blitz from some of these quarterbacks.
yeah. I saw something about Benjamin Albright is sticking with the Will Howard thing. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's shooting his shot with that, but it's all about where do you take Will Howard. I think, I don't
Fourth
know if
round.
Will Howard fourth round, right? But will he be there in the fifth?
Yeah, I mean, he could be. I
Could
just
be,
you
right?
don't know. I think I stick with my thing. Most quarterbacks who don't go in the first round slide to day 3 because you either want the 5th-year option or you don't. And then in the second round, it's all about cleaning up what fell from the first round. And then in the third round, you start looking like you're scrambling. There's runs on positions. You're scrambling to fill those. And then 4th, 5th, and 6th round, you're like, okay, what's still here? Wow, these quarterbacks are still here. Well, I
Yeah.
don't get them from any longer period of time than if I took them in the second round. So I think teams kind of seems this like gentleman's agreement because Spencer Rattler last year, remember how far he fell?
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just this gentleman's agreement of like, we're just not going to take these quarterbacks if they're not going in the first round. If you're not trading back up to get that 5th-year option, they just kind of they slide and slide and slide.
Yeah. Yeah, quarterbacks they fall, man. Like it's rare you see like quarterbacks go like third or fourth round. Like it really is. If
Mm-hmm.
you go through the history, you don't see a lot of quarterbacks go third round because that's when they start taking all the defensive players, all the linebackers go third round. You know what I mean? All the
Yeah.
guards and linebackers, corners, safeties, all those type of players go in the third round because that's where you get the value of them, and that's why quarterbacks, they start to fall past that point. You don't see a lot of third or fourth round quarterbacks, and that's where they end up. I mean, fourth round, maybe you start there,
Yeah.
but
Fourth round. Yeah.
right, and it also depends on how high he is on their board. I mean, is he that high that they're going to be like, oh, let's take 4 hours? You know what I mean? Like, and it's more about how they're talking about Quinn Ewers at 37. They're not talking about in the fourth round though. They're talking about him.
I mean, but who is like these reporters who are taking bait from people? Like, who is leaking from their team database saying we have Quinn Ewers as a top 50 pick? Like, who is telling Jordan Schultz that? Who is telling Vic Tafer that? It's got to be these media teams that are saying Quinn had a great workout with the Indianapolis Colts the other day, and the Raiders, they were spying on us from the balcony because they wanted a second meeting with Quinn that they didn't have to schedule. Like,
Yeah.
there's all this like mythology that happens in these stuff. Like, who is telling these people? You see it every year. These quarterbacks are going first round. Oh, wait, they're still there in the 5th round. Rich Eisen can't believe it on NFL Network. How is this guy there in the 5th round? Because he's a 5th round quarterback.
Yeah. Big SCD is right about the Tyler Shook hype too. Tyler Shook is getting some hype, man. And he's another guy, like he's getting on that hype and he goes like the fourth round. The other guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much fake quarterback hype all the time. Like I try to ignore it sometimes. I remember when like in like 2011 or 2010, like I don't know when Davis Webb came out, but there was buzz going into the draft that Davis Webb was going to go first round. He went in the fifth. It's just they push up quarterbacks all the time. Like Ryan Nassib, because what was it? Doug Marrone was a Syracuse coach. Ryan Nassib, he's going second round, and like
it doesn't happen. It rarely happens. Derek Carr is a rare second round pick quarterback.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't happen that much. Dak Prescott, 4th round. Raiders should have taken him. He took Connor Cook instead. No big deal. But there's like these runs that happen in the 4th and 5th round.
Yeah, it's just you just don't see quarterbacks going in the second round a lot. That's my thing. Like with Jackson Dart and Jalen Monroe too.
Mm-hmm.
Like like with Jackson Dart, like he's getting a lot of buzz too. Like I think somebody asked that question. Somebody asked, "Is would Dart go um, top 15 or maybe 10?" I think that would be insane. I think any team who does that is absolutely out of their mind, and they maybe need to go, figure something out mental health wise because that just doesn't seem smart to me. Taking him 10 to 15, like really, come on, guys. And that's what I'm saying. That's the type of guy that he would fall, people would be shocked, and then he would go third round. Right?
Mhm.
Not Will Howard. It's not the
Yeah,
Kyle
yeah.
McCourts, right? It'd be the Jackson Dart type of guys where he maybe like which he definitely has his agent selling stuff because his buzz just came out of nowhere, right?
Mhm.
He he basically is the type of guy that ends up falling. So if he ends up falling in the third round, because when I was doing this mock draft and I was doing it, like he was there and I thought about it. I kind of like, man, should I take Dart here? Would they take Dart if Dart was here at 68? Would they take him? And I thought about it a lot, but I just don't want to put
Yeah.
that out there. So, same thing with Quinn Ewers. I thought I'd take a Quinn Ewers in my mock draft too. And I was like, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it.
Right.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, dude. All right. What else we got here? I'm trying to see some of the questions. Let's play hypothetical situation. Sanders and Jetty are gone. LVR cannot trade back. Who do you draft?
Well, we'll do a mock draft because I didn't take either of those players.
Yeah, me either. So I think we'll answer that question kind of
Yep.
later on. Would you take the tandem of Mimbu in the first and Henderson or Justin's? Who's Justin?
Judkins, I
Judkins.
would I would imagine. Yeah.
With the second pick.
Eddie's been worried about my shoulders the whole time in the chat. He forgot
Yeah.
how to spell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, manly men drink beer like this.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
whoo, man. Tip your waitress, like improv comedy night over there in the chat. Yeah. Judkins, Judkins.
Yeah.
Yes, I would do that though. I like that. Fixes the running game.
Yeah, I do like that. I do like that too. Who do you think picks 1 through 5 will be?
Oh, that's good. I like that. Okay. Cam Ward, first overall. Travis Hunter, second overall.
Okay.
I think it gets interesting there, but I'll just give Carter to the Giants. I think there would be a trade there, to be honest. Like at that point, because I think the Giants wouldn't want to take Carter there versus what they could get. I could see even a team like the Niners trying to go up and get Carter from there. But I'll just put Carter 3. I think Will Campbell goes 4. And then I think at 5 you get Mason Graham.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go. Okay, this is I'm gonna try to predict this. I'm gonna go Cam Ward. I'm gonna go Travis Hunter. I think the Giants take Sanders just because of John Mara. I think John Mara is gonna be like.
I hope so. Yeah.
John Mara is gonna come like no. They're gonna take Sanders. I think they're gonna take Sanders. The Giants are. Giants take Sanders, and then 4 is the Patriots. So I think the Patriots are not gonna be dumb. They'll take Abdul Carter after that. Right. And then this is where it gets crazy. I think that the Jags, they take I think I think they might take Genty.
Yeah, no, it's very possible. I think they're putting that out more there to have somebody come get the pick from them sometimes, or at least start trying to move around. But yeah, no, they could. I mean, look, Bigsby and ETN. I mean, Bigsby's a pretty good running back, but yeah, it's a new coach. You don't know. Liam Cohen, we don't know what their philosophy is going to be. And it's also their whole staff is ex-Rams people. And the Rams, the last time they took a running back in the first round was Todd Gurley, and none of these guys were there for that. So that was like Jeff Fisher era. So I just like can't see. I think they're going to want that Mason Graham because then they'll have Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines Allen, Mason Graham. I mean, they're also a spot for Membu too, I think too, because how does that not help your offensive line at that point?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm just shooting my shot with Genty at 5.
Okay.
I think that might happen just because they the way their team is built, that they have the quarterback and they can get the running game going again. And Travis Etienne is not really showing up. PFST Palazzo had to make sure that let everybody know about the running backs that have been taken the first round. And I was like,
Right.
bro, these guys got like 90 touchdowns. What are you talking? Like, this is why do we
Yeah,
still
that
have this
wasn't.
conversation?
That was his other one. The safety tweet was good though. First round
Yeah,
safeties were bad. I was like, oh wow, like
yeah. You don't take safety first round. Like,
that
in
was a
my
good
opinion,
one. I was like, wow, that's a like Abram, Lewis Seen, like all of these. I was like, wow, these guys are bad. Like these
yeah,
safeties. So that was a good. He was trying to keep this is. I'm just saying who was taken. Like, no, Steve, you're saying something. But yeah, I also think Genty to the Patriots is not out of the question. People are talking about Genty to the Mike Vrabel was. Well, what did Mike Vrabel have that kept him employed so long in Tennessee? Derrick Henry.
yeah,
Is Genty Derrick Henry? I don't think so, but you could see him thinking like, I got a young quarterback. I want to run the football and play defense. I could see it.
yeah. I see people having an Arch Manning debate. I just want to say I watched one game of Arch Manning against Mississippi State, and I was ready to draft him at one. I would have drafted him. So
Yeah, but there's a season of college football to be played, guys, and there's an
yeah,
NIL now that keeps guys in school. I like what I mean is no. Here's what I'm saying. If the Raiders have the number 1 pick next year, probably. I hope they don't. Like
yeah,
truly, I hope they don't have that. Like with the way this is constructed right now, it would be a massive failure. It would just be like the injury, like a biblical plague of injuries would have to happen, in my opinion, for them to get the number 1 pick with their coaching staff the way it is. But I like guys like Lenora Sellers. There's a lot of guys like that I think might be coming out next year. That I'm like, although I'm not sure if Sellers will be coming out, but there's a few guys I think we should wait for some people to emerge from the college football ranks next year before we decide you have to go get the number 1 pick, rather than maybe if you have the 11th pick, maybe somebody's there.
yeah. I was going to say some other questions here. Just say that's why they're having an Arch Manning debate here. Um, everything. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that was more loyalty to Quinn Ewers than more than because to be honest, like I literally watched that game and I was like, how did you go back to Quinn Ewers? Like,
Yeah. Well, they didn't cover the spread for the alumni because I bet Arch Manning started. He started against some small school. He played well, but it was like a 35-point spread. And I was like, all right, kid, are you really the truth? Cover it for the alumni. And they couldn't. So maybe that was why. Maybe he got punished for not covering.
So
They're like,
he's betting on games. He's like, you got to cover, Arch. You got to cover.
Let me find out that Quinn Ewers covered every spread at Texas if I did some research, and we'll see who was there. Let me find out Quinn covers. Quinn covers.
You got to write an article about that in the Substack, dog.
Yeah. Quinn covers. No, I mean it's a thing with alumni. Like they're like, fucking Arch is trash. He didn't cover the 32 point. I had some oil money on that.
I'm dead at that, bro. I'm dead at that. He just looked really good at it against Mississippi State, man.
I was on a gambling weekend and I was like, Arch is balling, but come on, boys. Like we need a pick 6 on defense, like something. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he impressed me. I was like, well, okay, because the way he played when he came in for Georgia, or where he came in for Quinn Ewers when he got hurt, like it was totally different than how he looked against Mississippi State. Like it looked like he was just a totally different guy. So that's why I was like, yo, this dude is legit.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get these draft plans. We get the mock draft here. So any thoughts on Carol Spytek's presser today, or just smoke? So
it was all smoke. It was all smoke, political. They showed up because they had to, because it was scheduled to do so, and they didn't say a damn thing. No, I mean, and I'm not hating. This is what you want out of the organization. You don't want these leaks. You don't want stuff like that. So it was entertaining. I think they're both. It was nice to see Pete wearing a Raiders sweater. That's the first time I noticed him wearing a Raiders memorabilia. Because at first I was like, dude, put the Raider gear on, dude. Come on, Pete. Like he was wearing the Kirkland signature, Eddie Bauer cardigan for a long time, and I was like, dude. And he was rocking the very nice Raiders quarter zip.
Okay.
That was the big development. So what I'm saying is he didn't say a damn thing.
Nothing happened, basically. That's what Glen's saying, guys.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened, but a lot of jargon. That's what I saw. I heard. I mean, you could talk. Maybe you got a little bit of his philosophy, a little bit. I mean, when he talked about like how they're not going to reach. So Pete Carroll said like, I'm not going to reach for a need at a position where to kind of go with the board a little bit, which is an interesting conversation because if certain guys that they like are taken, like. How do they go a different route? Like, are they planning to take a running back at a certain spot? Like, where do they plan on doing that? Who are they going to take? that's when it becomes super interesting. And like and just studying Pete Carroll, like what he likes to do on defense. Like I have an idea of like every guy that they're gonna like, but when you get further down the line into the later rounds, like those guys are gone. So they're gonna have to get his types. He's gonna have to get early, like a 240-pound linebacker, like or 235 and up,
Right.
basically. Right. I mean, you're gonna have to go there. There's Schlesingers, the Jihad Campbells, those type of guys that are 240 pounds. He's gonna have to draft one of those guys early, like Demetrius Knight, who's 235. Those type of guys that are around that weight that he likes. He just can't wait for those. I mean, the further you go down, the smaller they get. Like I was looking at some of these linebackers, like 222 pounds, bro. Like, bro, how do you play linebacker that small? But like, they're out there, right? And some teams are gonna take those guys. Like I think it's something Mondon Jr. I can't remember his first name, but or pronounce it. So, but Mondon Jr. He is like around like 222 pounds or something like that, bro. Like it's really, really small guy. That's not the type of guy he's gonna take. He's not taking a small linebacker like that. So you kind of gotta throw that out the window. And I was looking at John Spytek a little bit too. Like he's like Bucky Irving is like the smallest running back he's ever really drafted. Everybody else is over 200 pounds, but most of them around 214. Like Ronald Jones, basically, is just like his prototype. Even though, yeah, so like a guy like DJ Giddens in the third round who kind of fits that type is a possibility. Like, and he doesn't really care about speed that much either. So any of these running backs that the Devin Neal's like fits that profile too perfectly. Those type of guys can become part of the plan too. But it's about, do they draft a quarterback? There's so many other needs on this team that like to bring in a quarterback just to bring one in just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's why it's kind of weird.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and we have to even though I think he's going to be taking a lot from Jason Light, John Spytek is his own guy, so you just never know. He also, I think he said he was part of Cleveland's war room. He brought up a story, I think, on one of the Raiders official podcasts about how they took Joe Hayden over another guy. It just kind of just talking about how they saw the draft, realizing where the run on corners would be or something. He was just so you never know. You might be taking stuff from a lot of these different places. So the craziest part about this is I just don't know. We have Pete Carroll separated from John Schneider, which we really haven't seen in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah.
And then we have John Spytek, first year GM. So I'm excited about it because they seem like competent individuals and they're not overly confident, which I like. They're not in Gruden and Mayock where they're like, we know the guys. These are the we know our grinders and we're gonna get them, and the rest of the league is stupid.
Yeah. All right. Do you think fans will be angry if they trade AOC?
I'd be slightly mad. I wouldn't. You would have to get his original draft slot back of 4th round, which even then, I'm kind of going, who is your backup quarterback this year?
Will Howard, bro. Will Howard.
Well, you'd have to, but he'd be making his first start. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Geno and Aiden O'Connell being like, damn, that's not a bad quarterback room. You have a guy who's started a handful of games over the last couple of years. I'm not like in love with the Aiden O'Connell. I'm not like of the hive, but I thought he was the better quarterback on the roster last year. And let's just keep. I don't know. What are you getting for him? I don't think it's that much.
Yeah, I think what do you get, like a 7th?
That's what I mean. He was drafted in the 4th. You're not going to get his original draft position back. It would be if like the Steelers just completely missed on quarterbacks, and the Steelers wanted to camp battle with Mason Rudolph and Aiden O'Connell. And then I would tell them, like, I need your 4th round pick for that, at least, for just something like that. And if not, then I'm in no rush to get rid of this guy, because you can say he's not a fit with Chip Kelly, but Chip Kelly's worked with guys like that before, kind of these quarterbacks that nobody really thinks about, and kind of just statuesque quarterbacks, these Nick Foles and stuff like it's worked in the past. So I'd like to see it.
Yeah, it has worked in the past. Chip Kelly has never really had a good quarterback in the NFL, so that's the thing.
Yeah, and you also somebody did bring this up, and I think his name was Scott on Twitter, was saying, this is just a connections thing, but the Raiders do have Gus Bradley's son on the roster. Pete Carroll might just like Gus Bradley's son, just be like, I know Gus's kid. I just know this kid. And I'm not saying like but he'll get some looks. I think he'll stay on the roster through camp and at least get some looks. I mean, why the hell not?
Yeah.
We'll see. He hasn't been cut yet. So I think he's going to get some looks. So maybe he's a backup quarterback for them. You never know. I don't think so, but we'll see.
Yeah. NFL just hates undrafted guys. They be hating.
It's true, but Gus Bradley, Gus. I love Gus. You know, just
I love Gus. How's Gus doing, Carter?
God, I love Gus. You know what I mean? I could just see that. Just man, Gus and Carter. I remember when Carter was 12 years old, running around. You know, running around he was the 12th man. You know, you could just see it.
Yeah, they're talking about compete right here. I mean, what if Carter Bradley beats out AOC?
Well, that maybe they already anticipated that, and maybe they say let's sell high on Aiden O'Connell and do that. I don't want to do that though. Like to me, that's not what I would do personally.
Yeah, I agree with that, dude. All right, got one more question here, and then we'll get to the mock draft here, guys. On this show, is Jalen Walker a smokescreen?
I don't know. He feels like one of those weird Pete Carroll picks that you're just like, oh, okay, that's the pick. I don't hate the guy. I just don't know what I see him. I can't visualize what he is in the NFL. You know,
he's an edge rusher. He has to be edge rusher.
At 6'1", at 6'1", that scares me. Yeah, that scares me.
There's really no way around it. You can't really. I mean, he is because he's just not the greatest linebacker in the world.
So that's what I'm saying, man. Like the guy last week that I had, Antoine Powell Ryland, is bigger than him and has more production from the edge.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, what are you seeing at the edge that this guy does that's just so incredible? I don't know. Yeah. I don't see it.
Yeah, I watched that guy from Virginia Tech. He's pretty good. He's just small.
He's small and he's just not a run defender. It's just, but he comes in on third down, or he's just a situational, like a rotational guy you would take in the third or fourth or fifth round. He just gets production. He wins in multiple ways. That's why he's not in my mock today. That's why I'm talking about him now. He's not. I would love for them to take him, but I just, for variance sake, have a different mock.
EasyBX. How tall is James Harrison as a pass rusher? Tall enough to go undrafted. That's what I say. That.
Yeah.
You get drafted.
And again, you're talking about outliers. You know what I'm saying? And again, you're talking about Jalen Walker at top 10 versus taking a chance on an undrafted guy. It's very different. If Jalen Walker's undrafted, I'd be like, who did you kill? Because I expect him to be drafted. He
did good at Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. Vehicular. But who did you, to me, I expect him to be drafted. If he's sitting there in the second or third round, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy fell. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know what is happening.
Man. Yeah, that'd be crazy if he fell.
Before we go to our mock, I'm gonna run to the restroom, but you guys keep going.
All right. While Glen takes a bathroom break, see if we got any other questions here. Did I miss any here? Not really. But talk about my draft plans. I'm gonna just talk about my how I did the draft here. I would say I went more with what I would say. I was very trench-like. I went very trenches here. And that's kind of, I feel like that's gonna be their focus. I feel like they're gonna focus on the trenches. That's what they're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they're gonna do that in the later rounds, or they're gonna attack the guards, but I do think there's gonna be a surprise, like maybe a guard or tackle or something like that. Like, is it Josh Connerly at 37? If they go somewhere else, you know what I mean? Those type of things. So that was my kind of game plan, but I really feel like that the way this draft's gonna go, it's gonna go pretty through the trenches, through the front seven, right? I think they're gonna try to build through the front seven. So, man, they didn't want to tell me that. I mean, Baby Suge would say that Graham. I don't think Graham's overrated, so I disagree with that, man. I know he has short arms and a lot of those things, but I think people are overthinking him. I think there's a lot of overthoughts. Kind of like how people are doing. I mean, they're doing that to Will Johnson a little bit. But Will Johnson's slow though. Like he's not fast, right? Yeah, he that's the type of thing that I kind of see with that. But I do think Mason Graham is a stud. Like, because you go watch him against Washington, man, he just was awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
Alabama too, that Alabama game he had that same year, you're just like, man, you're just that there's that burst and there's that bullet. He's just a bullet in the backfield. I don't know. I'd be happy with him for sure. Like
yeah,
I'd be fine. I would see the vision. I would understand it, and I'd be extremely excited about this defensive line if they had him, because you wouldn't be able to run on this defensive line, and they'd all have pass rush upside. All 4 starters.
yeah. He's maybe Shake about to rent 499 back. He's gonna
He's
file a
calling
dispute.
calling the bank right now. Guys, I've been had. I've been had.
He said for sure.
Yeah. I like that.
I'm disputing this now.
Yeah.
I like that take.
Yeah. I press 2 to deny the charges. Pressing 2 over and over again.
All right. Let's get to the mock. Guys.
Let's do it.
Here.
Oh gosh, I'm so excited for this. I haven't seen yours. You've seen mine, but I haven't seen
Oh yeah. Because I took like all day to do it. I was like, you know what?
You got to be quick with these, or else you'll never get them done. You'll. Yeah, I actually it's funny. I picked the wrong guy. I tried to trade down in the second, and I was like, oh, let me see. I picked the wrong guy. It would have been a player I was happy with. I would have been extremely happy with the player I picked, but it's not what I wanted to do for this mock draft. And I had to start over again. But then I went. I got it right.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like there's points where I was like, man, do I just take Jackson Dart here, or do I he's there? Would they do it? Like it was some things like that. But I kind of just went with my gut here with some of these things. So
I'm pumped, dude.
All right. So let's start with you, bro. Let's start with yours here.
Okay.
What do you got at 6?
I'm feeling a lot of fans are going to be excited about this one. So with the 6th pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Armand Membu, tackle out of Missouri. Yeah, you look at the height, weight, speed. I mean, the guy's a freak. Immediately, the Raiders are just, somebody asked for the Gruden impression and be like, this guy takes Demetrius Knight and he sends him to the other county. Demetrius has to Uber back to the stadium. He has to take an Uber back to the stadium. He stops for dinner along the way. He doesn't want to see this guy again. He's a beast. And you talked about earlier, where do you play this guy? I still pay Colton Miller and take this guy, by the way, but I give Colton Miller like a 2-year extension upon what he's juice up his year this year, kind of similar to what Geno got, right? Relatively speaking, for in the tackle market, I give him just that 3-year pit, 2 years guaranteed, third year is a little team option, because I think for me, DJ Glaze is a good player. I think he's gonna be a good player in the league. Does he deserve to be unchallenged at the position this year? I don't think so. No. I think if he beats out Membu in camp, then you have a swing tackle in Membu, who I think is athletic enough to play both sides. Just that's what happens. Guys like Tristan Wirfs, who are freak athletes like that, have come in and shown a little versatility there. I just think this guy's a beast. And like I said, in the run game with him, JPJ, gives you some flexibility at guard too. Like if you want to try Glaze out at guard, I think my problem with Genty at 6 is that I just don't know how many contracts I'm giving Ashton Genty. It's tough. It becomes a huge debate no matter how good he is. It's just the nature we are in the position. Membu, I'm confident I give him a couple contracts. I'm confident that he just is a big part of this roster. And he's young too. He's very young. Now, Marcus has him he has a brace on in this picture, so I don't appreciate the picture that you picked. I think this guy's relatively healthy. This guy can play, man. Watch the South Carolina game. That's where I fell in love with his tape. The guy hunts. He hunts. And I think he's one of the safer picks in the draft, actually, because his tape, he's not even like Colton Miller, where Colton Miller was freak athlete and kind of a late riser in the draft. Membu's tape is first round tape. Then he also has the athletic and age upside to it. So that's why I really like him.
Yeah, Membu has the most upside of any tackle in this draft. Like, it's just because when you watch him move, when you watch him on film, man, he can move.
Oh,
like he has some serious movement skills that just pop off the film, and that's kind of the situation that the Raiders are going to be put in. And he when you think about, with John Spytek comes from Tampa, Tristan Wirfs comes to mind, right? That's the type of thing that comes to mind when you watch him, is just how athletic he is, man. Just running a 4.9 at 332 pounds, like, it's crazy. Like, you just got to think about that.
What's his arm length too? His arms were long, right? Too, doesn't he?
Let me look at the arm length here.
I thought he
But
was.
yeah,
I don't think he had like the Rashawn Slater arms. I think he was longer armed, I think, than that. And then what I like about that is, just technically speaking, and I'm not, you guys know a lot more than I do about, like, technique. But when you see him, I think Matt Holder posted it, where I could see Matt was kind of taking the Membu pill this week. He was like,
oh yeah,
whoa.
he was.
Yeah, but
he
because there's times where, like, he kind of is able to, even if somebody has the edge on him, he's able to kind of, without holding, like, use his arms to at least get contact with the guy. And it's just, there's so many times I think his number one weakness is in pass protection. He kind of lunges at people and he gets too aggressive. That I would rather coach out. I think you can coach that a little bit better, and he can also just live with it, because I think he's going to kill some guys at some times and just knock them out of the game. Whereas Will Campbell, I think, is the exact opposite. I think you can rock him backwards a little bit easier. Membu, I think that makes this offensive line one of the best young units in the league if you get him. And bringing in a guy like Geno Smith right off the bat, you just have exactly what you need. And then you're talking process-wise, Spytek, coming from Tampa Bay, one of the first things they did in the draft after getting Tom Brady in, they draft Tristan Wirfs. They didn't go get Henry Ruggs or any of these other players, Justin Jefferson, guys that would have helped. They went and got the tackle, and he was good right away. I think he'll be good right away.
Yeah. Because the issue is more in pass protection, but he's gonna have to run game right away. Like, it's fine. Well, we can work with that. I think he can figure it out. Just the athleticism that he has, and his technique's not that bad as a pass protector. I mean, you look at his stats. I was looking at it. He only gave up 8 pressures all year. His pass rush, his pressure efficiency was 99, which is pretty damn good.
Beast. I'm telling you, I think it's safer than a lot. I think people think he's this raw prospect. I don't think he's that raw.
Yeah, he's not. He's not that raw. He's not that raw at all. Like, to be honest, like I said, I mean, he only game he gave up more than 2 pressures against those South Carolina freaks. So he's
right, and then he was also has some insane tape in the run game against South Carolina. So he got his right in the run game. He was just TJ say he has some good, I think, looks with TJ Sanders, Demetrius Knight, who's a guy I'm a big fan of. Like, he was wiping him out of there. It was amazing.
Yeah. I still thought he played good at pass protection that game. So
yeah, exactly. And you're talking about a monster defensive line. That's probably the best defensive line in the SEC.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's a down year. I'll give him that. It's a down year in the SEC last year for defense. So it's relatively speaking, but we're not talking about a small school tackle here that you just have a bunch of questions about. To me, I just think he's. I think there's a good chance they do take him at 6. Honestly.
Yeah. All right. I just see a question here. Could Membu end up all-pro guard if you slide him inside?
I wouldn't want to right away, but he's in the run game. I think guy's a monster. I mean, you know what I mean? And if you think somebody's over aggressive at tackle and pass sets, perhaps maybe, and feel free to disagree with me here on this one, but like a guard, I think it is easier to kind of be aggressive in pass protection, right? I mean, like you're a little closer and you're going against guys who don't have bend the way that defensive ends do and stuff. So I again, that is a good alternate option. I think he can play left and right. I think he can develop into a left tackle if you need him to. It's not where I'd put him right away. I'd say if I draft him, I pay Miller and I say, DJ Glaze, show me that you can win this job.
Yeah.
And then it's fine. You have a swing tackle. The Jets did it with Fashanu last year, and I bet it's going to reap rewards of them having Fashanu on their team.
I didn't bring Membu in.
They didn't. Did they bring Brock Bowers in? I know it's a different thing. Did they bring Brock Bowers in for a visit last year?
No, but I think that was just Tom Telesco. Like, God damn, Brock Bowers is here?
Exactly. So
that's
they didn't bring in Membu, but also, do you bring in a guy if you don't have any questions about him? Like visits are for people, guys you have questions about. I mean,
Yeah.
or you want quarterbacks, you want to do it for quarterbacks because you want to talk to quarterbacks in depth. You want to get there. But for an offensive lineman, if I don't have questions about the guy, I don't waste a visit on him.
Yeah. All right, let's get to my pick. I stayed in the trenches too, so that if that kind of gives away my pick here, but I stayed in the trenches on the other side. Baby Shug, you're gonna be really mad at me here.
Ooh,
Uh,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Baby Shug. I appreciate your support of the channel, but I hope you don't unsubscribe. But I took Mason Graham. Mason Graham, 6'3", and a half, 296 pounds, 3.5 sacks, 45 tackles, 7 tackles lost, 7 tackles for loss, pass breakup. The reason why I think they're going to take Mason Graham is because he's 296 pounds.
Yeah.
I think he is a Pete Carroll defensive tackle. Like if Pete Carroll had a dream of his defensive tackle that he wanted to build, and I know the arms are short and I know all those things, and I think that he's going to have to definitely learn his technique and learn how to get around that, but I think he's strong enough to get around it. I do believe that this is Pete Carroll's this is a Pete Carroll dream defensive tackle.
Also, our GM went to Michigan.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of our owners went to Michigan.
Yeah, Baby Shay said I need my refund. Yeah, hey, Baby Shay, you might like the rest of the picks here. You might like the rest of the picks, but I think that's why I feel like they're not going to pass on him because like literally like if you look up the defense tackles that he is drafted and to ask to play that position, they are literally Mason Graham's profile. Besides the arms, I guess like you can go past the arms type of thing. But yeah, I think that they're not going to pass on him if he's there. I think they're going to try to go for the trenches. They're going to try to go for building up this defensive line and getting after. They're going to try to copy what the Eagles did, right? I mean, they're going to want to be like that. You know what I mean? Like they're going to try to get after Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and then Bo Nix is gonna get some respect this year. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I just think that this is the way they're gonna go. He's just not gonna because literally this is the main type of defensive tackle that he loves.
Yeah.
And when I was looking up these numbers and I saw that, I was like, yeah, they're looking at him. They're gonna take him for sure. Like
it's not out of the question at all. I mean, like you said, the Michigan ties. He won at Michigan too, and played his, in my opinion, his best season. And last year, Michigan just sucked. Their defense was not the problem. My thing about Mason Graham though is just like that's just a damn good defense. And it's like I watch a lot of time. I've watched Mason Graham, and then I end up looking at Kenneth Grant, and I'm like, God, Kenneth Grant's awesome. Look at who's the other guy? The guy that Raiders brought in for the visit, Josiah Stewart, is that his name? The edge, and then you have Will Johnson, and all that stuff. I'm kind of like, man, there's just a lot of really good players on this defense, and I just wonder is this like a Georgia situation where do I have to snap count this guy? Do I have to, and it's a defensive tackle. Of course, you have to keep them on snap counts and rotate them, but I would not be mad at this at all.
Yeah, the thing is with Mason Graham. My comp and even Matt Holder's comp is Christian Wilkins for him.
That's funny. Yeah.
So if Wilkins, keeps getting hurt or something like that, this is your guy that takes his spot, right? If when you move Christian Wilkins or you allow him to let him go, this is your guy who takes his spot. So, so yeah, it is that type of thing with Mason Graham. That's why I really like him at this position. But Big SCD had made me laugh because I thought about this when I was watching Lil Gruden's little breakdown of Kenneth Grant that he would took about 6. Did you see him?
I'm a big Kenneth Grant fan. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm a big Kenneth Grant fan to the point where he seems to always be available at 37 in my mock draft simulator, and I'm like, there's no way. But I'm a big Kenneth guy. Yeah, but yes, obviously that he would have. This is my guy. Screw that. This is the real star of the defense. You guys don't know anything. I'm the smartest guy of all time. This Kenneth Grant, I'll tell you right now, he took Mason Graham's lunch and he ate it. He ate it and said, Mason, this is my lunch, but you can get drafted high. Just No, I agree. I agree 100%.
Oh man, just that show exposes his whole brain with
It's
drafting.
ridiculous. He's bringing in these like guys from like community college, and he's like, I'm just he reminds me of Brad Johnson. This guy, and you're just,
Or like taking Will Howard at 6. He says the Raiders need a quarterback to place their car. Will Howard.
yeah, Siobhan Ravel. Yeah, for sure.
Man. All right. Next pick, Glenn. Who do we got
Oh,
at
my
37?
next pick. I have used this guy in a mock before, but it was a couple mocks ago. So with the 37th pick, I have no trades in my mock draft. I just went 4 straight up. 37th pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Carson Schweschinger, linebacker out of UCLA. Love this guy. You want to talk about a guy? Oh, where can you find these 242-pound linebackers? I guess at pick 37 is where you could find them. 4.5 40, all his measurements check out to me. Missile getting into the backfield, but I think has some coverage versatility. I think he in zone coverage, he's good. He's quick. His feet move quick. I think he can develop there. You look at the linebackers on the Raiders roster. They seem really excited about Devin White. I've already made my thoughts clear about that. Landon Roberts, you're going to need to find a long-term plan at linebacker in this draft. And I think in the second round is where I want to address that. You don't know with the way these guys view these linebackers. Jihad Campbell, Jalen Walker, we don't know. They don't get taken high very much anymore. These off-ball linebackers, it's just not something that happens. But and I'd move up a couple picks to get him. I'd have no problem with doing that. I really want this guy to be a Raider. Just and who recruited him to come to UCLA? Our offensive coordinator. So they have intel on him.
Yeah, I really like Carson Schweschinger on film. When Matt broke him down, it was more about what he does in coverage. I think he could be a really great zone coverage linebacker, right? And they're going to understand what he wants to do with Pete Carroll, him playing zone, but he plays a run pretty well too. Like he doesn't like take on blocks or anything like that yet. It's something that he's got to get better at in the NFL. But like just him being able to read things, how well he tackles, how good he played all year. I think this would be like at 37. This would be an option just because like the same thing I was talking about with Mason Graham. Like he's 6'2", 242 pounds. That is like Pete Carroll is already in love with this guy. He's 242 pounds. He can move. He's got some athleticism. This is my guy. Like he's already ready to draft him at 37. Like if he's there, right? So he fits the profile. He fits what they want to do from middle linebacker. So I think this is definitely a huge option if he's there at 37.
Yeah.
Right. To be that type of guy. And that's my thing. Like he just fits everything that Pete Carroll likes to do and on defense from the middle linebacker. And, he's going to bring him in and, Schweschinger just hasn't played a lot, but you definitely see the upside that he brings. He's just so athletic, man. He's so athletic.
I agree. I agree 100%. And I just, they need a long-term plan at linebacker. They have really nobody after this year. And I don't even know if they have anybody this year, to be honest. Like there's nobody that you can just be like, that's our guy, and get a big extension for. So it's a big need for this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So my second round pick here didn't really go too crazy. I feel like I picked this guy like 3 times already. At the same spot. So if you've been watching the show and been following the mock drafts, you already know where I went with this. TreVeyon Henderson.
Nice.
I'm sticking with this, man. I'm sticking with this.
Big 10 all day for you.
John Spytek, Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly.
Yeah, you're right.
Pete Carroll did coach the Big Ten, but he doesn't like Jim Harbaugh, so he's gonna try to take some of his guys. So Ohio State, TreVeyon Henderson at 37. Somebody there was like, Zamir White it is. See, I faked you out. No, not Zamir White. We got our starting running back here.
Yeah.
TreVeyon Henderson, 5'10", 202 pounds, 4.43 340, 11 touchdowns, 7.0 YPA, blocks, catches the football, runs the ball. He's going to need more of like a power system type of way that happens. But yeah, he'll be fine. I think he's has a chance to be a really great back in the NFL. And one thing I really like about him is that he has the long speed, so he could be a home run
Didn't you
hitter.
say he didn't a long time
I know
ago?
I did.
All right, I have to
Exactly.
call you out on that
It
because
was the Notre Dame game. I changed.
well,
You watched him against like Oregon and like
you're talking
Texas.
about a cheetah defense made of cheetahs. Notre Dame. I mean, nobody has long speed against us. I mean, come on.
But you're right about that. But I did see somebody else say that, like Doug Farrar, who does the film work on Twitter. He said the same thing I did about TreVeyon Henderson. So, but when you watch him against like Oregon, in the playoffs, and he just took that ball and he's gone. So he has that long speed. He can make these, take those runs for big runs. I think he's hard to tackle. He's elusive, and I just think that he plays really well, man. It's not a lot that he doesn't do really well. Like, I mean, I guess you could make the case that he's very scheme. Like, you have to run power with him. Like, that's what he does best. But I feel like you can do that with any running back. So,
Right.
I really do like Henderson.
Yeah. No, I love it. I mean, I love the pick. I don't expect him to be there. I think he's going to go late first round. I just think he's to a team that's already in the playoffs. He's a guy that you can add. I think he's a lot better than a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think he's much better than that, and much more physical of a runner than Clyde Edwards-Helaire was. So I could see a team, like the Ravens taking him, or God, I'm doing it's Good Friday, so for my Lord and Savior, I'm doing the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, the Chiefs. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but there's gonna be a lot of these. The Bill, if you were to add it, the Bills don't want to pay James Cook, they might draft this guy. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of a similar situation.
Yeah. He needs another guy with him. Judkins helped him. Like, I don't know.
I don't know about that. That's why they're national champions. Not so much. I don't think it was necessary to flourish in that system, but that's why they're national champions. They had everything you needed on an offense there, including the offensive line, including the receivers, including the running backs.
See, I think the NFL is just so different these days. 'Cause, I mean, Bucky Irving's small, man, and he was getting the ball like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just a different league, right? It's just not the same where you have to have that 200 pound back. And he said watch tape prior to when he was the league guy. Like, I've always liked Henderson on film. So
me too. Yeah.
Talking the wrong guys.
Then you just go sign Nick Chubb. Go sign Nick Chubb then.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Go sign Nick Chubb. You have Nick Chubb, Raheem Mostert, and TreVeyon Henderson, and you're balling.
I mean, Nick Chubb, wasn't he like squatting like some crazy weight? I saw that online.
I wish they would. I wish they'd go get him right now and still go draft a running back.
All right, how much is it gonna be? Like $4 million? Like, how much
nothing. He's waiting for a playoff team after the draft to be like, I mean, why would he sign right now? You wait till after the draft and you go pick from your options of teams that need you.
Yeah, I mean, and Mostert still has some juice though too.
I like Mostert. I like Mostert a lot. I think he's a sleeper on this roster, big time.
He's got some juice, man. He's got some juice. So if they go Henderson and Mostert, and then Sincere McCormick, man, don't sleep on Sincere.
That's another one.
Don't sleep on Sincere, man. Don't sleep on Sincere. He had a good year, but man, I mean, Zamir White. Somebody brought him up earlier. Like, I don't know about Zamir though.
I do know about Zamir White, actually. The answer will not shock you. I don't think he's an NFL running back.
Yeah. Andrew Evans has been listening about making dinner, so I don't know what you're making, man, but hopefully it's good.
What time is it, sir? It's a little late. No. Shout out. I love that. Podcast during dinner is all when you're cooking. We're cooking, you're cooking.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Exactly. I mean, maybe you got off work late. Maybe you just got off work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. No, dude, I've eaten dinner much later. This is not judgment. Yeah. I've eaten a second dinner. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Third round. We got two more rounds to go, guys. So we got third round here. Who's your pick for the third round here?
Quinn Ewers. No, it's not. With the 68th pick. Oh, this is when you told me that the threshold for this type of player I was like, oh, I did it. Perfect. With the 68th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle out of Tennessee. Let's look at that weight. 291. I like this guy, man. This guy gets busy. He moves around. He can absolutely on stunts. They moved him on the edge. You watch the James Pierce. I was watching the James Pierce kind of tape, James Pierce Jr., and I was like, who is 55? And then I kept seeing him in the mock drafts. I'm like, that's him. This guy's a beast. So what I did was I was like, Mason Graham, that's too expensive. I got the cheaper kind. We don't have Mason Graham money. We got Omar Norman Lott money, and I think he's pretty damn good. And it needs a little work in the run game. He can get washed out in the run game, but this is my third down. This is a third down guy to me. This is a third down guy. Doesn't have to play right away, but damn, this dude can move. And he motor. Max Crosby is gonna love this guy. Good value. And look, I get it. I haven't taken a running back yet, so it's kind of like, Glenn, what are you doing? I found better players, I think.
Yeah. I wasn't too familiar with him, so I went and watched this film before the show, and I was impressed. Like he can move, man. He's
burst. I mean, he has burst, and his get off. I mean, if you hate Tyree Wilson for his get off, you will love this guy. I mean, he is like, it almost looks like a penalty sometimes. You're like, what? And this guy can play.
Yeah. I mean, he is a little undersized at 6'2", right? I mean, he's a little undersized there, but I think that he can definitely be the third round, that's not bad at all, right?
Yeah, he could go earlier, to be honest. Like I could see it, but I mean, second, third round, it's kind of a wash. Like things happen, guys fall, but I think this guy's a beast. So if you look, I've taken Membu on the offensive line, Schwessinger in the defense, as the linebacker, and then Omar Norman Lott. I think that's two really intriguing players to add to this defense.
Yeah. Another player, even though he ran kind of slow, but I think another player that kind of fits this too is Darius Alexander. I think that
I like Toledo, right?
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
Those two are like in that where like
does he move? Does he have the? I was watching him. Does he have the motor that Norman Lott has? I don't think so. I think Norman Lott has that crazy like psycho mentality to him. That Alexander, I was like, there's just a notch lower. But I do like Darius Alexander.
But Darius Alexander is like Pete Carroll's idea of a nose because he's so strong. He's just a strong fucker, dog. He just
sure. No, and a nose, like they did get Lecky Fotu, which I do like, just for the fact that you have a nose tackle body on your roster. So they could be looking for that in the draft. That's why Kenneth Grant's a guy I could see them like trading up for, from 37. I could see them doing that depending on what they do at 6. Yeah. But I like just getting Norman Lott in the third round and just saying, you don't have to play right away, but we can find a random third down for you. Or if you're up, if God forbid the Raiders have leads in the fourth quarter, if that starts happening, you have a guy who can come in and just, I know fans think stunts are like free sacks, but watch his stunt pass rush moves. He takes these crazy paths that you're like, there's no way he's going to win there. And he does against SEC offensive linemen.
Yeah. People talking about guard, Jared Wilson guard. I watch some of these guards. I gotta get more into these guards, but they're gonna draft me so late. That's why I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait.
I like Ratledge, and I like Milliam. I like Milliam out of West Virginia.
I like Miles Frazier from LSU, which I think they can get like.
He's a good player. Yeah, I actually like him, and I like Emory Jones, the tackle. The Emory Jones, I think, is just a good mauler. That needs some work. Like, he's another guy I would take a little bit later, Emory Jones.
Yeah. Also, Marcus Membu, I like him. He's talking about Charles Grant. That's another guy that they might draft. I
haven't watched him. I'm not familiar.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. But
Sacramento State, don't sleep on my Sacramento State guard. I forget his name. I'm sleeping a little bit. I forgot his name, but Sacramento State, the guard, the guy can play.
Yeah. Somebody said, I hope Marcus selects Andrew Mukuba. I'm gonna tell you that Pete Carroll's never drafted a safety under 200 pounds.
Wow.
I didn't know Earl Thomas is that big.
I thought, yeah. See, you could have told me he was 193 or
I did not
something.
know
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
that big.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
like, he's 5'10", 205,
Yeah, he was a
low
beast.
4.4s,
Absolute beast. Yeah. No,
jumps out
I
of the
agree.
building.
And look at who they kept: Polomal,
Yeah.
Jeremy
hmm
Chin. Yeah, that seems to still be the theme. Yeah.
Like, yeah, he likes his safeties big. Because the thing with I'll talk about Mukaba a little bit, which I really like him on film. I think he's a lot of natural
Yeah.
instincts. He's just like, can he come and play the box at
No.
186? Like,
Great ball skills, though, man. Those ball
yeah.
skills are good. Yeah.
He like have to play free safety in the NFL. And that's one
Yeah.
thing with him. All right, so my pick, I kind of went into the defensive backfield here. And there's a guy that I really feel like that is a Pete Carroll fit here in the third round, which I think he's going to be there. Like, I know, on the PFN draft, they didn't have him there, but I still think because he's an older player that, teams are going to, jump on him. Right. So I went with Darian Porter
Nice.
from cornerback,
Yeah, he's going to go
Iowa
higher
State.
than this for sure. But yes.
Yeah. So he's 6'3", 195, ran a 4.3, 40-yard dash, 18 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, 2 pass breakups. I just went with him, and I think he's going to be there 68 because I think I'm going age here. I think teams are going to age his ass. They're going to be like, well, you're older. You didn't have a good he's basically like the Tyler Shook of cornerbacks, right? Where he didn't have his breakout year until he's like 24. He didn't have like that production there until this year, but he just has that fit where he's just long. He has 33-inch arms, um, 6'3", 4'3", 40. All those things are there for Pete Carroll, just to fall in love with. And he plays great in press coverage, which Pete Carroll loves. It's just the type of guy that you really like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love the
So
player. I love the player. I expect him to be gone long before. I would take him long before this. I would
yeah.
think about him in the second round. He'd be a classic trade back in the second round. Like if you were sitting at 37 and you thought there were about 7 or 8 guys that you liked, and then somebody came up 4 picks behind you and said, "I'll give you a 4th round pick if I can move up with you." And then Darian Porter's still sitting there, I'd do it. So if you get him at 68, I mean, you sprint the card in.
Yeah, because my thing is like it's more about, like I said, it's about the age and him being a 1-year wonder, and those type of things are going to be a little bit of a factor in my opinion for me. But he might not be there at 68 just because of the 4.3 and all those things.
That's
But
fast. That's
uh,
fast.
uh, I still think teams like I think teams are going to pick like the Benjamin Morrisons over him. They're going
Mhm.
to Trey Amos. Those guys are going to go over him.
Yeah.
Before he goes. And it all depends on where those guys go. Like if those guys go first round or end of first round or whatever, it kind of pushes him up a little bit. I think we're like the Morrisons and some of those players that have like that great 2023 tape that maybe fell off a little bit. I think it's gonna be more about that with him, right? I think he's gonna be decided basically on where these other guys go, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's true. One thing I'd like to say before, because I was talking about Omar Norman Lott, Spytech drafted, Jason Light did, but Spytech was on the staff that drafted Kalijah Cansey early too.
Yeah.
You got to think about Kalijah. He's a good player. He's a good player in this league right now. That was a good first round pick. So when you start thinking about those slick defensive tackles that kind of wiggle into the backfield, good motor, quicker than they are big, that might be what they look for in this draft. That trend, especially with the way Pete Carroll likes it, and then the way Spytech is shown. They either go Vita Vea, massive move, people mover, or the quick player, the quick undersized player.
Exactly. All right. Your next pick, man. This was an interesting one because I had to go watch this film after I saw that you picked this guy. So go ahead, Glen, with
Yeah, we'll see if you like him. He was a newer guy for me as well. I like messing around with the mock draft simulator, so I was this name kept popping up on my thing, and I'm like, let me just watch this guy because he's always seems to be there when I'm picking. Let me see, but it's with the let me get the pick here, with the 108th pick in the 2025 NFL draft. The Las Vegas Raiders select Ty Felton, wide receiver. out of Maryland. This is a slot guy to me. Slot guy all day. This is just, he's a little skinny, but I think he can get a free release anytime he wants. He is he can, what do they say? He can make you miss in a phone booth. Yak. Raiders just don't have yak besides Brock Bowers on the roster right now. Myers is okay at it, but they just don't have yak in their receiving core. And I think this is a guy right off I think they've brought in Kyle Phillips as a slot guy. This guy would be competing with him and perhaps winning the job. I'm a big fan of this guy. You watch his film, he's good. I mean, he's just good. If you're asking him to win outside in contested catches, I don't see it. But you're talking very, very fast. He almost jumps almost a 40-inch vertical jump.
Yeah.
And I think he has some kick return possibility. Just watch him. He's a lot of fun. And this is just a fun trick. You have a good starting quarterback right now. This is kind of a fun toy for him.
Yeah, man. He has 26 missed tackles this season. Yeah, so I wouldn't watch him on film too, because I was like, when I saw, I was like, who's Ty Felton? And so I waited to watch his film too. And he actually runs pretty good routes, man. He runs pretty good routes. He's very smooth in and out of his breaks. I don't know how well he can catch the football. That's what concerns me a little bit. I don't think he catches the football very well, but I think with his ability to run routes and the speed he has and a lot of those things, like he does run good routes though. It's just more about the hands, and you can't throw the ball up to him really. Like I was looking because I was watching him against Minnesota. He had a really good game, and I kind of went and watched him a little bit, and he doesn't do contested catches or anything like that. And you look at his contested stats. He was at 18 attempts for contested catches, only had 7 catches.
Yeah.
So
no, it's a problem. That's why I put him in the slot because I know he can get a free release. I just know he can get a free release in the NFL. To me, you have Myers on the outside. They have to worry about Bowers. Tucker, I think you and I both agree, is kind of going to get unlocked this year. And I just think Felton, to me, and I don't think he has to start right away. This draft position would suggest that he doesn't have to. I mean, I think he has kick return ability, like I was saying. This is an explosive athlete at the position, and I agree the hands are a question. Guess what? That's the 4th round. 4th round there's going to be a question about you.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a question about you. If I draft you in the 4th round, I would have drafted you a lot earlier if that wasn't the case. The Raiders need to get explosive a little bit in their receiving core. I think they have good receivers. I think they have one elite, player in Bowers, and then a very good player in Myers. We'll see what happens out of Tucker. You bring in a guy like this. I like just finding a guy. Wow, this guy's running in the 4.3s. Let me take him in the 4th round and just see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I just can't believe you didn't take Nick Nash, man. I think you didn't take the home field, man.
I did. I thought about it. I just were randomly one night. I was just messing around watching players, and I was like, yeah, this Felton guy, man, get the ball into this guy's hands. And yes, that's the hard part. Get the ball in this guy's hands, and he does some crazy stuff. You're like, wow. And Maryland sucked. You know what I mean? You watch Maryland, you're like, this is a bad football team.
That was a terrible quarterback play.
Yeah, terrible quarterback play. So I'm like, man, I love taking a receiver I know. Ever since the Raiders got Rod Streeter. Was he amazing? No. But when the Raiders got Rod Streeter and you found out that Temple just didn't throw the ball, and then they get him and he was good for what he was. He was undrafted. I think Felton's got some game, man. And just like I said, good luck tackling him once he gets the ball, because it just doesn't happen. It's crazy.
Yeah. Nick Nash would be my 5th round pick.
I do love Nick Nash. I mean, come on. I love the guy. It's just
Nick Nash is there 5th round. I'm right there. So if this was a 5-round mock draft, guys, you would get a wide receiver from me. It would be Nick Nash. I'll tell you that right now. All right. But I didn't go that route. I went to a linebacker that I know some people maybe can tell me this guy's not there, but I don't know about that. I think some linebackers are gonna get pushed over him just based off age. Some people are smaller linebackers, and some of these other guys are gonna be pushed up. But I went Demetrius Knight Jr.,
Oh, my guy.
6'2", 235 pounds.
He seems
Uh,
like he's falling. It doesn't seem like he's going high. I love this guy.
yeah, 6'2", 235, 40-yard dash, 4.58, 82 tackles, 8 tackles for loss with 2 sacks, interception. He really, caught my eye at the Senior Bowl. I thought he had a really good Senior Bowl. He actually showed better coverage skills than he does on film
Oh,
at
yeah.
the Senior Bowl, right? So that could kind of maybe push him up a little bit, but I still think that just because the age and a lot of those the other factors, him not playing really well until he's 24, kind of the same thing with Darian Porter. I mean, I kind of took the same approach for both these guys. Like if I think the age and then the NFL seeing that they're more 1 year wonder type of guys, that's why I think he might be there at 108. And you gotta think about with how the Raiders are picking. Like they're picking at the beginning of the fourth
Yeah,
round.
right.
Like they literally like if you
They
think about it, they're picking at 108, right? They literally get the chance to have 4 top 100 guys.
mhm.
And that's what they really got to hit on these guys here. Um but I really like Demetrius Knight Jr. I like he just plays the run so well, and
He's a monster.
yeah, and I think you can hide. I think you can hide linebackers if you're a good coach, and I think Pete Carroll is, and I know he might have him, run with somebody, but like he runs a 4.58, and not like he's slow. So if they're running that crosser and he has to run with the guy, he can do it. It's more about like can he handle a running back? But there's not too many running backs that get guarded by linebackers in the NFL. Let's keep it real. So, I, I'm not gonna say this, but I do think linebacker coverage is like a little bit like an overrated thing when we talk
Right.
about linebackers, just because I can hide him in zone. Like as long as he has good zone eyes and he can go forward and then read a quarterback. Like, why am I putting you on Travion Henderson or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, why am I putting you on Christian McCaffrey? You're gonna get burnt. Like you know what I mean? Like so.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just not. That's my thought process with linebackers a lot. But he plays the run so well. Like he's probably one of the better linebackers, run defensive linebackers in this draft. So I really like Demetrius Knight a lot.
Oh, I do too. I mean, if you'll remember, I think about a month ago, our first mock draft, I had
Yeah,
him in the second round. I mean,
yeah,
I love the guy. His stock doesn't seem to be very high. But also I think it's one of the sneaky deeper position groups, off
yeah.
ball linebacker, which the Raiders need a lot of them. So if they were to even double dip at off ball linebacker, I wouldn't be mad. If you were able to find guys in the fifth, or if they were able to go in like third and fifth round off-ball linebackers, you could make a case for it. I think we both crushed the draft. It looks like the chat likes yours. I think you cheated a little bit with Darian Porter. You cheated a little bit with Darian Porter. I'll just say that much. But you did. I think you got it. I'd be fine. Now for me, I'm missing a running back in my team.
Yeah, you are. You
I'm
are.
missing a running back. Kyle Mondongai, I think is his
Okay,
name,
that was your
out of
5th round pick.
Rutgers. That's my 5th round pick. So whatever. I love that guy out of Rutgers. So that guy's a beast. So I would do him and Raheem Mostert, and then I would sign Nick Chubb, is what I would do. I would just take those 3 guys, and I'd be like, you know what? We'll figure this out with the 3 guys. But I have Armand Membu, Jackson Powers Johnson on the line. So we're it doesn't matter. You and I are getting 4.8 a carry back there.
Yeah, I think I like a guy I like that as a running back that's late is the dude from Auburn. It's not.
Yes,
Hunter?
Yes, Hunter. I like
I
him.
like him a
You're
lot.
right. I found him out actually through Gruden's YouTube channel. One of the Gruden guys, he had the guy from Walter Football in. That's a deep cut. He had the guy from
Really?
Walter. Yeah, Charlie. You know the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Walter Football with that old ass HTML ass website. Like they had him in there talking about, and he had that dude from Auburn on there. And I started looking him up. I'm like, this guy can play.
Mhm.
This guy can play. Like, so yeah, I'm there's a lot. I think you can get. I mean, I think we should take a running back somewhat early, second, third round. But also, it's like, man, they need linebackers. They need a little bit more on the defensive line if they want to be dominant there. They need corners. Neither of us picked a corner.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's just there. You're gonna leave this draft with needs.
You are. You are. But the thing is, like, there's like 800 corners that are still not signed.
Exactly. And they're veterans, and they know how this works. Teams go,
Mm.
shit, we did not get Kobe Bryant like we thought we were going to get.
Yeah.
So let's go sign this guy.
All right, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Fun times.
Fun times. Our final mock draft. We'll be back next week. It's draft time.
Reacting. We'll be reacting
live. It's gonna be a live show. You know what I mean? Reacting to number 6. Maybe if they trade back, maybe they make it exciting for us, make it a longer draft for us. Trade back, and maybe that happens. We don't know. We'll see. But but I'm excited for next week. I mean, finally get to find out what the Raiders do. If we're excited, if we're upset, if they take Shadeur Sanders, take Ashton Genty, they take Mason Graham. We're all gonna find out. And you're gonna get our live facial reaction.
I cannot wait for the facial reaction because I pride myself on being very excited about the Brock Bowers pick last year. That's locked in.
You called it too, Glen. You called it before it happened. Like, what do they think Brock Bowers?
Yeah. And then also, I just remember fans being like, terrible. I was just like, it's not terrible. The guy is good. Like, yeah. So I just laugh. So, no, and I expect them to do a few things like that where it's like, we don't need this. And I would be surprised if they went tight end in the first round. I'd be very surprised.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Colton Loveland.
Harold Fannin Jr. They trade back twice and then take Harold Fannin Jr. Or something. Something like that. But like they might do something weird like that where they're just like, I'm sorry, this player's really good. Trade back twice. They find a way to trade back twice for future picks in the next draft, including this one, and they take Xavier Watts or something. Like they might do something weird that fans don't expect, or they might just take Jalen Walker at 6, where we're all like, it's very strange. We're gonna have to trust this coaching staff.
Yeah. You're right about that, man. All right. We whiffed on Fuaga, Glen. Time to admit it.
You want to talk about whiffing and pass protection? You want to talk about like not getting the job done? I mean, I saw Fuaga. He was blocking ghosts, Ghostbusters. Like I saw him. He was that guy sucks.
Yeah. That's why he's a guard, man. He's a guard. All right, guys. We're out of here. Like I said, hope you enjoyed this episode. Check out all our mock drafts, guys. We did I think we did 4. I think maybe 5. I don't know, but you go check them out.
At least 4.
At least 4. So go check all the mock drafts out. You can hold us accountable. I know Baby Shug said he's making a playlist just in case he's keeping track of all the ones we miss. So that's great. That's awesome. I mean, hey, maybe we get them right. Maybe throughout the mock drafts, we get it all right.
Yeah. I think Schwessinger is a Raider. I don't know. I just feel like he is.
Yeah.
For some reason, I feel like he's on the Raiders. I don't know why. That's the guy. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they took Ashton Genty at 6. I mean, I think we both did that at one point.
I'm fully prepared for them to do that.
You know what I mean?
And I won't be mad. At this point, I won't be mad. I'll be whatever. It happens. There's more picks.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, guys. We're out of here. See ya. Peace.